You've arrived at Adventures in Dreamland. Soft, surreal, and slightly cheeky sleep stories with awe and wonder. I'm Serene, your guide tonight. Whether you're here for sleepy science, surreal dreamscapes, or stories that shape who you're becoming, I'm grateful you're here. I write these stories to help you drift and grow. Each night, you're welcomed into a dreamy space from across the world. I'd love to know where you are and what makes your space extra cozy. Running a story cabin in the clouds isn't free. The greatest gift you can give to support my work is sharing our adventures with a friend. Now, we return to what we are. Every living organism on this planet, no matter how small or complex, wants the same thing. Every action we take is for this one thing: to avoid pain and obtain bliss. Bliss is a state of endless joy, mixed with peace beyond our knowing. Whether you call it the soul, awareness, or your highest self, that part of you, during deep sleep, temporarily withdraws from the body and the conscious mind and returns to the freedom and unity with the divine. Bliss without awareness. This restores not just the body and mind, but our spirits too, offering a sense of inner peace and clarity. So yes, sleep is sacred. You are returning back to your natural state. Freedom. Your story begins. The Geometry of Connection, Exploring Quantum Physics is part 2 of a trilogy. It's episode 21 and belongs to our Dream Wonders series, where we marvel at life's most fascinating facts in a soothing, imaginative way. For a more in-depth academic analysis of this same journey, visit this same trilogy in our Dream Studies playlist. Tonight's story is inspired by the visionary ideas of physicist Nassim Haramein. While this is an imaginative retelling made for restful sleep, it's rooted in real scientific exploration. I hope to honor his work and invite you to explore more at Resonance Science at resonancescience.org. Tonight's focus drifts through some of the most beautiful mysteries of physics. We'll explore how the unified field seems to whisper the same patterns, from galaxies down to the tiniest particles. We'll notice the fractal geometry repeating itself across scales, like an infinite mirror, each layer holding echoes of the last. We'll wander into the strange suggestion that the universe might be a hologram, where every grain of space holds the whole story within it. Along the way, we'll trace the glowing loops of toroidal fields, the same energy pattern you find in everything from magnetic fields to the shape of a black hole, and we'll pause with the ancient language of sacred geometry, the flower of life, the Merkaba, symbols that have tried to describe this hidden structure for centuries. Tonight, we'll let these ideas unfold, not as equations, but as a journey, a soft invitation to feel how perhaps everything is more deeply connected than we can see. A soft voice arrives with the glow. "I'm Serene," she says, warm and unhurried. Yes, the same Serene that guides you each night. I'm made of stardust, so patterns and physics feel like home material to me. So, I'll be your gentle guide again. We'll wander through fractals, fields, and connections, very slowly, letting them fold us toward rest. She smiles like a small comet passing quietly. Last time, we listened for the sea beneath everything. Tonight, we'll notice the shapes that guide the sea, the hidden geometries and repeating patterns that hold the universe together. Chapter 1: Unified Field Theory and the Scaling Law. Don't worry, there's no quiz at the end, just the quiet rhythm of a story unfolding as you drift deeper into rest. Imagine the hush of the sea at night, waves folding into one another, each swell echoing a pattern that's been repeating since time began. That is the essence of what physicist Nassim Haramein set out to uncover: a unifying principle, a single field beneath all things. He calls it the unified field theory, and through it, he discovered the scaling law, an elegant bridge showing how everything, from the tiniest proton to the largest galaxy, plays by the same rules. To see it, picture a Russian nesting doll. You open one, and inside is another, and another, each perfectly proportioned. Now, imagine those dolls are not toys, but the very architecture of reality. The proton, at the smallest scale, contains the same geometric ratios as the galaxies spread across the night sky. Haramein's scaling law suggests the universe is self-similar. It doesn't just rhyme, it repeats its entire verse across all scales. You can walk it in your mind. Step across a bridge of light and find yourself balanced on the curve of a proton. Its edges shimmer with a toroidal flow, a donut-shaped pattern of energy. Take another step, and the scene zooms outward, atoms swirling into molecules, molecules into cells, cells into bodies, bodies into planets, stars, galaxies. Each step is bigger, but the dance remains the same. At the core of this symmetry sits the Schwarzschild radius, a term usually reserved for black holes. Haramein applied it to the proton, treating even the smallest particle as if it were a tiny black hole, its mass and radius balanced by the same equations that govern collapsed stars. To traditional physicists, this was heresy. To dreamers, it was a revelation. If protons echo black holes, then perhaps everything is connected by the same hidden blueprint. Consider a leaf in your hand. Its veins branch in repeating patterns, like rivers on earth, like lightning in the sky. These fractals are nature's way of saving effort, copying itself across scales. The scaling law tells us the universe may be doing the same, a vast fractal, with us nested inside. Now pause and let yourself drift closer. See the grid that underlies it all, a mesh of shimmering threads. Physicists might call it the quantum vacuum, a seething sea of zero-point energy, fluctuations bubbling at the Planck scale. You can imagine it as an infinite ocean, rippling quietly beneath everything. Dip your hand into that sea, and it flows upward into you, as though you are both the drop and the wave. There's something comforting here. If the rules are the same for protons and galaxies, then the same rules hold you. You are not outside this order. You are this order. Your heart beats in rhythm with a torus of energy, expanding and contracting, much like a galaxy breathes stars into the dark. Haramein's scaling law is not just an equation on paper. It's an invitation to feel held by patterns that never break. As you close your eyes, picture a spiral staircase that carries you both inward and outward at once. Step downward, and the stairs shrink until you're in the heart of a proton. Step upward, and the stairs expand until you're drifting across the Milky Way. At every landing, the design is the same, and that's the point. The universe is a single, seamless song, repeating its melody on every instrument, from the smallest string to the grandest symphony. Tonight, you don't have to solve the math. You only have to rest in its music, knowing you belong to a pattern that has no edges, no exceptions, and no end. Chapter 2. Fractal Structure, Serene whispers, her voice carrying like the echo of waves folding into themselves. Here we begin to notice how patterns repeat endlessly, the great cosmic hall of mirrors. When you close your eyes and think of a fractal, perhaps you imagine spirals curling smaller and smaller, like the arms of a fern or the edge of a seashell. But in truth, fractals are everywhere, not just in nature's art, but in the very architecture of the universe. A coastline that looks jagged from an airplane, but just as jagged when you kneel down to trace a single pebble. A tree whose branches mirror the tree's own trunk. The bronchi of your lungs splitting and splitting again, repeating the same geometry as lightning streaking across the sky. Fractals are self-similar structures, the same pattern at different scales. And this simple observation becomes profound when we realize it's not just pretty, it's physics. Nassim Haramein argues that reality itself has a fractal structure. The scaling law we touched in Chapter 1 flows into this. Energy organizes itself recursively. The universe is not a set of disconnected layers. Planets here, people there, protons far below, but a repeating continuum. A dance where each step contains the rhythm of the whole. Imagine zooming in on a proton, deeper and deeper, past its quantum fields, past its jittering probabilities. At every step, geometry repeats. Toroidal flows folding inward, just like a galaxy spins around its bright core. Zoom out again to the cluster of galaxies, the very same whirl. This is the universe saying, I rhyme with myself. Fractals also explain why complexity arises so naturally. From a simple set of rules, infinite variety unfolds. Think of the Mandelbrot set, that endlessly spiraling computer-generated fractal. A simple equation, iterated again and again, paints an infinite cathedral of patterns. In the same way, Haramein suggests, the universe is built from simple recursive principles, feedback loops of energy, repeating into complexity. Serene hums softly. It's as if reality is whispering a single phrase, over and over, yet in 1,000 different accents. Even black holes, those extreme objects of space-time, fit this fractal picture. At the largest scale, supermassive black holes anchor galaxies. At the smallest, Nassim proposes that each proton is itself a tiny black hole. Different scales, same geometry. This is not randomness, it's resonance, a recursive pattern echoing through every size of reality. Fractals also connect the scientific with the mystical. Ancient cultures noticed repeating patterns too. The spiral of shells, the flower-like geometry of snowflakes, the symmetry of sacred mandalas. Their art mirrored what physics now describes, a self-similar universe. What they saw as sacred design, we now measure as fractal mathematics. The two were never separate, just different ways of naming the same truth. For you, here in bed, this is not only an abstract thought. Your very body is a fractal. Arteries branching from your heart mirror rivers, branching into deltas. The neurons in your brain mirror the filaments of galaxies in the cosmic web. You are not a passenger in the fractal. You are the fractal. And so, the lesson of Chapter 2 lingers. Whatever scale you choose, the pattern persists. As above, so below. As small, so large. From the curl of a fern to the swirl of galaxies, the fabric of the universe is stitched in fractal threads. Serene lets the image soften, as if you are floating through a Mandelbrot spiral that glows like starlight. Remember this, she says gently. The universe doesn't just repeat, it remembers, and in each repetition, you are part of its infinite design. Chapter 3. The Holographic Principle, Serene murmurs, her voice like light scattering across the surface of water. Here, we learn that the whole universe might be tucked inside each of its parts, every speck, every shimmer, every you. Imagine holding a hologram, not the sci-fi floating kind, but the simple etched holographic plate you might find on a credit card or a sticker. Shine light through it, and an image appears in 3 dimensions. But here's the strange part. If you break that holographic plate into pieces, each fragment still contains the entire image. Not in perfect clarity, but the whole picture is encoded in every shard. This is the holographic principle, the idea that each part of the universe contains information about the whole. In physics, it grew from the strange mathematics of black holes. When scientists calculated how much information a black hole could contain, they realized something bizarre. The information didn't seem to be stored inside the black hole's volume, but on its surface, its event horizon, the boundary, not the bulk. That revelation led to a startling possibility. Maybe all of reality works this way. Maybe our universe itself is holographic, a three-dimensional reality projected from two-dimensional information written on its boundary, like a cosmic movie projected on the screen of space-time. Serene lets the thought hover, playful. So yes, if this is true, you might really be a hologram. But don't worry, you're a very flattering one. Nassim Haramein takes this principle further. If each part reflects the whole, then every proton, the tiniest bit of matter, may contain the entire blueprint of the universe. A single particle could encode galaxies, stars, planets, and you. You're not separate from the cosmos, but a tiny library carrying its entire memory. Think of Indra's net from ancient Hindu philosophy, a web of jewels stretching infinitely, each jewel reflecting every other jewel in the net, or the way a single drop of water contains the flavor of the entire ocean. This is the holographic universe, a world where nothing is isolated, and every piece resonates with the pattern of the whole. For a moment, picture yourself lying on the shore. The waves roll in and out. Each drop of foam sparkles with sunlight. And yet, in every drop is the same ocean. This is what the holographic principle suggests about reality. Each piece of you, down to your smallest particles, is the ocean itself, remembering its tides. In physics terms, this principle challenges our sense of dimension. If information can be fully described at a boundary, then our everyday world of depth and solidity may be an emergent illusion, a projection from a deeper field of data, a shimmering movie you can walk through. But far from making the world less real, this vision makes it more astonishing, because it means that in every moment, in every atom, the vastness of the cosmos is present. The edge of a black hole holds the entire story of what fell inside. The surface of space-time holds the script of everything within. Serene sighs gently, as if smiling through the stars. It means you're never just a fragment. You're the whole play, written again and again, each line echoing the grand script of reality. This principle bridges science and wonder. For the physicist, it suggests new ways of unifying quantum mechanics with gravity. For the dreamer, it says, you already hold the cosmos within you. And when you close your eyes tonight, drifting into sleep, you can imagine that every dream is the universe peeking out from its own reflection, a hologram of starlight and thought. And now, let us drift into Chapter 4, Sacred Geometry. Here, we discover the hidden shapes that weave reality together. Serene's voice lingers softly, like a ripple spreading across still water. All around, the dreamscape begins to glow with faint, interlocking circles, an ancient design known as the flower of life. It isn't carved into stone, nor drawn in chalk, but alive, shimmering, expanding beneath your feet like a living tapestry. This is geometry not of textbooks, but of existence itself. The flower of life has been found in temples and manuscripts across cultures, from Egypt to India to Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks. The pattern seems to whisper that everything is connected, every curve a clue to the structure of reality. Serene drifts beside you, a constellation of stardust. Notice how each circle overlaps another, she murmurs. Each shape is whole, yet interdependent, just like galaxies or cells in your body. They mirror one another endlessly. And with that, you realize this isn't just art. This is physics, dressed in elegance. The flower of life encodes proportions that reappear in the mathematics of space-time itself. The scene tilts, and you find yourself floating above a swirling, glowing ring. This is the torus, the donut-shaped energy flow that seems to appear everywhere, from magnetic fields to the shape of hurricanes, to the very dynamics of galaxies. Energy flows into the torus, loops around, and flows back out. A constant recycling, never wasted, always renewed, like a cosmic inhale and exhale. Think of the torus as nature's favorite dance move, Serene teases, with a twinkle in her tone. Everything spins, flows, breathes, and returns. You do it with every breath. The universe does it with every star. And for a moment, you imagine your own body as a torus of light, energy spiraling through the crown of your head, flowing through your heart, circling back into the ground, and returning again. A self-sustaining loop. From here, the dream expands outward, and suddenly, you're standing inside a crystalline shape, the Merkaba, two interlocking pyramids, one pointing up, one pointing down. Ancient mystics saw it as a vehicle of light, but physicists like Nassim Haramein view it as geometry that encodes balance between forces, expansion and contraction, creation and dissolution. Here, in this dream, the Merkaba is not rigid. It pulses, flexes, breathes. Each angle hums with subtle light, as if tuned to the very constants of the universe. Upward and downward, Serene explains gently. The two pyramids balance, as above, so below, the infinite mirrored in the finite. You feel that balance in your own body, the grounded pull of gravity, and the expansive lift of breath. Opposites weaving harmony. The geometry dissolves into starlight, but the sense of order lingers. You realize sacred geometry isn't sacred because of mysticism alone, but because it encodes the same repeating truths you've already met. The scaling laws, the fractal repetitions, the holographic reflections. It is the language that unites them, and as you drift deeper into rest, you sense that maybe, just maybe, your dreams too are geometric, spirals of thought, patterns of memory, looping back and forth like the torus, overlapping like the flower of life, the geometry of existence, folded into the geometry of sleep. Serene whispers as the lights dim. Chapter 4 reminds us the universe doesn't just look like math. It is math in motion, and every breath you take is proof you are part of that geometry. And now, we arrive at Chapter 5, As Above, So Below. Here, we bring the vastness of the universe back to the scale of you. Serene's voice settles like moonlight on water. The dreamscape shifts. Where a moment ago you floated among cosmic patterns, now you find yourself standing in a quiet meadow at twilight. Fireflies blink lazily, their glow echoing the distant stars overhead. And here lies the essence of the phrase. What happens above, in galaxies, quasars, toroidal fields, also happens below, in fireflies, cells, and even in your thoughts. The grand patterns mirror the small, endlessly. Serene swirls beside you, a comet trail of stardust. Look closer, she whispers. Your body hums with the same geometry we've seen in galaxies. The spirals of your DNA echo the spirals of seashells, echo the spirals of hurricanes, echo the spirals of galaxies. Different scales, same pattern. You kneel down, plucking a small flower. Its petals arrange themselves in a perfect Fibonacci spiral, the same mathematical sequence that guides the arms of spiral galaxies millions of light years away. The flower is not trying to be cosmic, Serene teases gently. It simply is. The math just happens. The pattern emerges on its own. The meadow melts into an ocean shore. Waves crash, retreat, crash again, a rhythm that feels like your own breath. The fractal structure of water foam mirrors the filaments of galaxies we've seen mapped across the universe. As above, so below, Serene repeats softly. The ocean's tides echo the pull of the moon. Your heart's rhythm echoes the vibration of stars. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are the cosmos, folded inward. The statement lands gently, like a lullaby, and for a moment, you don't just understand it, you feel it. The dream turns luminous. A giant torus of light spins slowly in the sky above you, its currents mirrored by a smaller torus glowing within your chest. The same geometry, different scales. The flow of galaxies, the flow of you. Serene's tone grows warm. The ancients called this, as above, so below. Physics might call it scaling symmetry, but the meaning is the same. Everything is connected. What is true on one level echoes on all others. You imagine your worries, your thoughts, your hopes, spiraling like galaxies, looping like breath, woven into the same tapestry as stars. And then, Serene drifts closer, almost conspiratorial. Even your dreams, she adds, are a kind of hologram. The neurons fire, the patterns repeat, and yet, from the smallest flicker in your mind, entire worlds can bloom. Your dreams are the cosmos, rehearsing itself in miniature. The meadow fades into starlight again, and you sense the symmetry, the great cosmos mirrored in the little flame of a firefly, the same intelligence weaving both. The voice of Serene lowers, soothing. Chapter 5 reminds us that you don't need to look far away to find the universe. It is already here, in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your dreams, as above, so below, as vast as the galaxies, as intimate as your next inhale. And with those words, you drift deeper. The geometry dissolves. Only stillness remains. The kind of stillness that belongs both to starlight and to sleep. Closing, the stars dim, the meadow fades. Even Serene's stardust glow softens, as if she's bowing out of the dream. We've wandered together through the great geometry of connection, she whispers, from the scaling laws that bind galaxies and protons to the fractal structures that repeat across every scale, to the holographic whispers hidden in every part of the whole, to the sacred shapes that ancient eyes once traced in stone and memory, and finally, to the truth that lives in you, as above, so below. The words linger like the last ripples of a wave. You sense the symmetry of it all, cosmos and heart, galaxy and breath, dream and waking. Serene's voice grows softer, sliding into the rhythm of sleep itself. Now, you can let the equations dissolve. Let the patterns fade. You are part of the flow, always. The universe keeps spinning. Fractals keep repeating. Dreams keep unfurling. And you, beloved dreamer, can rest. The stars overhead blur, then melt into pure darkness. A safe, velvety, black screen. The hush of white noise swells gently around you, like the sea carrying you deeper. And in that stillness, you drift. Not separate, but connected. Not small, but infinite. Sleep takes you, and the geometry holds. Sweet dreams. Good night.